يعطيكم العافية جميعا.
مرحبا يا حي الله، اهلا وسهلا.
الله يعافيك. الله يعافيك
دكتور جاسر، انا على الدكتور خليل.
تفضل.
انا على الساعه 3 راح استاذنك لاني في عندي اجتماع اخر راح اروح عليه.
خذ راحتك دكتور. على
يعني معك ساعه ان شاء الله.
على الخير، متشرف فيك بايدك.
يعني بتسامحنا لانه اليوم كلها دخلت ببعض المواعيد.
بين الله بين الله. الله يقويك ان شاء الله.
الله يسعدك.
Sorry, I had a student with me, so كنت ناطرتها لتفل ارجع اصير معكم فولي.
ويلكم.
دكتور خليل سامعني؟
سامعك دكتور.
دكتور، توفرت تهيئة فرصة جديدة مع استراليا على موضوع العواسي.
نعم.
في حسن الحظ عندنا طالب دكتوراه اعتقد جامعة سيدني او هيك شيء يعني. كان جدا متحمس لموضوع العواسي.
نعم.
وكشف الخارطة الجينية والتنوع الجيني.
نعم.
الفينوتايب، دراسة كاملة والقضية الإنتاجية أعتقد راح نبدأ بالتعاون بالموضوع خلال الشهر القادم إن شاء الله.
ممتاز ممتاز.
وراح أسوي لك أبديت بالموضوع باعتبار جنابك مهتم بالعواسي.
والله ضروري دكتور. انا خليني اعطيك ابديت كمان. انا عندي داتا زي جينوميك داتا لل 50 كي سنيب شيب من العواسي بالاردن، وعندي 50 كي سنيب شيب ايضا للنعيمي من البحرين. موجوده الريزلتس كامله جاهزه. و I think if you can join your data, your يعني files, and also if you can obtain something from outside those countries, we can do something يعني important in the genome of Awasi, just only to recognize the different lines or the strains that can be found here and there. So بإمكاننا دكتور، يعني أنا آسف، بإمكاننا نجمع بيانات، لأنه أنا already جينوميك داتا من البحرين وعندي أيضا من الأردن.
في
مجموعة.
How many samples do you have? ده عندك كم sample?
You know, Pauline, usually we collect from each breed about 35 samples, but they do need to be non-related, you know, non-related animals. So if they are non-related and far away from each other, I mean, in the pedigree, you can do them. But if you have much يعني more samples, it's good. From Jordan, I have 200 actually.
Okay.
But
and you have the records, right? The problem is, I think everywhere is records. In Lebanon, we're facing the problem of records even in goats. Because I'm trying to do the snip chip of Baladi goats. There's a major problem with records. I don't have records. I'm collecting my own records on them. That's the problem.
Pauline, we are not talking about genome wide association.
I know.
We are talking about diversity. So if you can collect the samples and you are sure they are pure lines, you can collect non-related animals from all the flocks, private sectors from it. So you can join your data if you have SNP data from Lebanon also.
I'm trying to collect some. I don't have it. I'm
آسف دكتور رضا، احنا رحنا على موضوع آخر.
Well,
sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, well, I really enjoy it because usually that's how collaboration starts.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to welcome all of you this evening. Dr. Khalil, you are the one who is leading the session, so please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Rida. Actually, this is many thanks, Dr. Rida, again for your support, actually, and to give us this opportunity to meet with each other, actually, bi-monthly. Is it bi-monthly meeting, and to share our knowledge in the field of animal production in the NENA countries. So I would like to welcome all the members with us today, and also to welcome the new members that joined us recently. Pauline, you are more than welcome. Actually, I am happy to be with us. And also now, just before introducing Dr. Khalid, I would like to remind Dr. Bashir and also Dr. Sami that they will have the next presentation will be yours. So I hope to prepare yourself well, and I think as I know that Dr. Bashir will have some commitments at that time. So Dr. Sami, you will present your presentation, the next presentation for you, and we will skip Dr. Bashir for meeting. So,
okay, Dr. Khalil.
Dr.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. On behalf of the director of the Algerian National Institute of Agronomic Research, I would like to thank AARINEA and all those responsible for this opportunity to present to you some results of our work in the field of animal production. In this third virtual meeting of Animal Production Network, organized by AARINEA, I present you a communication entitled Conservation Strategy and Record Keeping in the Herd Book of Local Animal Breeds and Their Sustainability in the Time of Climate Change Experience of Algeria, in collaboration with my colleague, researcher in the same division, Dr. El-Bouyahiawi. We have in introduction, the alarm has been declared by the FAO for several years. The proportion of endangered breeds in the world increased from 15% to 17% between 85 and 2014. The extinction are due globally to human and geoclimatic activity of the surrounding environments. The climate change has an important and perceptible influence, knowing the accent studies have shown alarming prediction and in arid and semi-arid area in Africa, which are likely to experience an increase in frequency, severity, and duration of drought, as well as temperature. In addition, there is COVID-19 pandemic, which puts the world in the situation of public health crisis. Despite the Convention of Biological Diversity in 2022, the objective was to achieve by 2010 a significant reduction of the current rate of biodiversity loss of the global, regional, and national levels as a contribution to the reduction of biodiversity, poverty, and for the benefit to all life on Earth. Has been difficult to measure the loss of the biodiversity. In animal genetic researchers in particular, sorry, there is a problem. In animal genetic researchers in particular, there is loss of the diversity of endemic livestock. The existing animal production in Africa are losing more and more of their purity, and the concept of breed no longer has any effective meaning. FAO has made significant progress in biodiversity assessment, notably with the publication of the State of the World for Animal Genetic Researchers and the maintenance of the Domestic Animal Diversity Information System, which is the clearinghouse mechanism recognized by the Convention of Biological Diversity for Animal Genetic Resources, INGR. In 2050, according to the study carried out jointly by FAO, ILRI, and AARINENA, it's estimated that the meat market will reach 34.8 million tons, and that of milk will be around 82.6 million tons. This corresponds to a respective increase of 145% and 155% compared to 25 and 27 levels. Presentation of the context. Algeria. Algeria has a large area of 2,381,741, largest country in the North Africa, a total of over 600,385 kilometers of land border. The agriculture sector employs nearly 23% of the working population. The dominant breeding is ruminant, total number around 35 million head, 27 million head of sheep, 5 million approximation 5 million head of goats, 2 million about 2 million head of cattle, as well as more and 44,000 of camel head. The agroecological area in this figure, we have 5 agroecological in Algeria. There is plain and highlands in yellow. We have littoral and sublittoral in pink. The steppe is in yellow green. We have the mountains and the oasis and south. All this is the south and oasis. Definition of the herd book: register of 5 or which are registered the reproducer of both sex of a breed of animal as well as their parentage. We talk about herd books for the bovine species and for flock book for the sheep and stud book for the horse species. Animal identification. This identification is essential for any conservation or monitoring program for farm animals. Each animal must be identified by a number inscribed in the loop of tattooed directly on part of its body, ear, head, sometimes in the back. See following photos. There is the ear in the ear of animals. The numbering must be standard. It must be in the following indication: the wilaya code, the year of the birth. We have to make it the year, the serial number, the number of the serial number of the animal. Identification must be made before the age of 6 months, a priori for female and breeding male. Monitoring and traceability. After identification and registration of the animal, we have to begin monitoring in all its form, food, reproduction, and genealogical monitoring. Genealogical tracking is essential to identify a good breeder and avoid inbreeding. The Algerian experience in the conservation of the local breed. We have Algeria's experience in the conservation of animal genetic resources led by the INRA, National Institute of Research Agronomic, is based on the ovine species, or sheep, given its importance and the presence of 3 endangered breeds in the station. We have 3 breeds, Tazgzout, Tadmit, and Man. For the registration in the flock book, the ovine species is in progress, but not we haven't flock book for the sheep for the moment. For illustration, we quote the example for the equine species, which has its stud book. It's about the Arab barb and the Arab the barb horse. We have the Arab barb and the barb horse. The beginning of comprehensive management of sheep breed. The question of the standard presents a real difficulty given the heterogeneity of the population. The phenotypic diversity of the animals encountered is considerable. Even within a single herd, the standard can't be deduced from the average of current animals for good objective measurement. It results from a constriction based on the representation of the actors involved in the management of breed, and it's therefore the breeders who have the responsibility to tell the breed by formalizing the project they have on it, by defining the local breed through relevant criteria of membership and exclusion. Then secondly, examining the convergence and divergence of this criteria to find the type or types of animals to be favored in the management phase. We have in this diagram, we summarize the steps of follow for sheep conservation management. It is done in 5 stages, 1, 2, 3, 4, or level, as it will follow in the next slide. Initially, the network of sheep breeders with local association. We have the local association first. After identification and characterization, commission approved the EWE, approved the EWE. After the genealogical follow-up, we use controlled cross to end up with the candidate RAM. At this stage, the RAM are monitored in a control station. At the end of the cycle, we will have qualified RAM will be redistributed to the initial work. When we have the qualified RAMs, we have the redistribution RAMs for the social association, the sheep farming network, and others are eliminated. The effective management of the breed is carried out by the breeders, and the experimental station as part of the breeding network made up the local breed management associations. In the final, each breed corresponds to an association. The overall scheme of this management is structured into 5 levels. Level 1, approved of AWE, registration of approved AWE begin in the breed genealogical register. The second, collected crossing, genealogical and health monitoring of approved AWE and RAMs resulting from controlled crossing. A second register is planned monitoring the following register. In the level 3, we have performance control station. The confirmation of approved EWE and candidates from are after performance control about reproduction and growth of lamb. And in the 4th level, we have individual performance control. Selected breeding ram are individually checked, and outcomes of the level is the confirmation of qualified ram which are either redistributed in the breeding network or kept in some testing and collection. The conservation of any breed must obey for 5 stages, which are prospecting and inventory, in situ and ex situ conservation of representative animals of the breed, management of the conservation, phenotypical characterization, and in 5, finally, the promotion of the breed. This last step represents the milestone of the conservation sustainability. Among these methods, we cite the establishment of records of herd book on this breed after having the standard with serves as a reference. We are working on it now. Example of conservation of the local breed, we cited Tazexout, endangered breed, as part of the socio-economic impact project and led by the work package team under the responsibility of Dr. Elbouhi Rashid. We have inactivity, we cite some activities and some results, a phenotypical parametric and zootechnical characterization, morphological description and zoometric measurement, calculation of some zootechnical indices, and zootechnical performance control. The measurements used for each animal, there is 20. We see total body length, and all. The results, we have analysis of qualitative trait by SAM shows the presence of pendant 80%, twist spot of the tongue. In the tongue level 74, and the head are dominant criteria of this breed. 44 of the animals have back pale black lamp with the black color exist on the hook. Pattern 44%. Average daily gain calculation for 1 to 10 days, 10 to 30, 30 to 70, 70 to 90, and 90 to 180 days. Weight at a typical age, 10, 30, 70, 90, and 180 days. Weight and growth rate as shown by sex and mode of birth. Correlation test between different weight at typical age. We have the lamb, and the responsible has to measure the weight of the lamb. We have some results. Average daily gain of the lamb in the Tazexout breed. We have an important gain, average gain in the 247 plus and 72 of the SD. It's very important for results for the breed Tazexout. We have some outcome example article. We have 1 in 10 or plus of publication. 1 publication of morphological characterization, reproductive and growth performance of Algerian Tazexout sheep, and all. The important what we do now, reflection of the diffusion mechanism of the Tazexout breed. We have to create breeding units of the Tazexout breed in the original cradle with rams and iwi under correct with potential breeders. We have to buy the animals to the breeders in the region, and establishment of the first nucleus of the breeder network. We have to constitute the network as a first step to the creation of the professional association. We have implementation of Tazexout breed standard. We have to we depose the Tazexout breed standard approach undertaken with the National Institute of Standardization, IANO, in Algeria, for standardization of the breed in progress. We have results perhaps this year. Now we set the herd book of Algerian. We have to Algerian herd book example for the horse stud book, Barb and Arab Barb. In Algeria, we have the specificity of the Arab Barb stud book. Origin, the specific characteristic, originally from Algeria, the Arab Barb and Barb are originally from Algeria, more generally from various Maghreb countries, from Tunisia. We can find the Arab barb in Tunisia, in Morocco, in Mauritania. The Arab barb is well-behaved breed, and its saddle horse measure between 1.44 m or 1.55 m weight, which is around 400 kilograms, and it's mainly used for the fantasia, renowned for its hardness, sporty, and more massive and taller than the barb. We have the Arab barb and we have the barb. I'll explain the difference between them. We see this example of this fantasia in Algeria. Example of fantasia. We have the Arab barb with different colors. The other specific of characteristic has white marking of the lamp and head, brown with washed horse hair, black or gray. The hair is its mane and tail is long and silky. The Arab barb, which is taller and more massive than the Arab barb is taller, more massive of the Arab, is generally harmonious. The head less chiseled than the Arab, but thinner than a barb, has a straight profile. Its neck is muscular, its back is short, and its rump is slightly sloping. Now, for his hardness, very energetic and more athletic than the barb. The breed barb is a breed from the North Africa, Algeria, Morocco, and Tunisia. We said that traditionally associated with Berber people. Amazigh of this, it's mentioned for the Roman Empire. In this figure, we have characteristic of the Arab barb and barb. We have short back, slightly sloping crop, long silky horse hair. We have white marking on head and members, We have muscular thick line, and a thin head. We have a thin head and straight profile. This example of measurements used for the barb in Algeria. We have height to withers, height to ramp, total, etc., etc. Study book. The study book, history of the Arab barb and the barb. Historically, the Arab barb and a barb horse is saddle horse from Algeria, which is the first country to establish the Arab barb stud book in 1945. 1948, the Arab crossing in 1877 between Arab barb mare from Algeria and imported Arabian horse. There is crossing in 1877 between Arab mare from Algeria and an imported Arabian horse. We have the cross of Arab and in results, the horse which didn't have the faults, which are, however, few in number, the barb is ordered to fill the shortage of horses. Appreciated for its strength and ease of adaptation in learning, its fragility and its robustness. The total number, all breeds combined, is over 35,000 individuals, and 15% of whom are Arabian, making it the most popular horse in the country. It's more particularly present in four regions: the north Algeria, namely coastal area and plain, mountain, highland, and those bordering of the desert. It's also predominant horse in other Maghreb countries such Tunisia and Morocco. The constitution of the stud book. The first original edition of the Algerian stud book of the Arab breed was in 1892 by Hachette book during the French occupation period. Legally, the creation of the Algerian horse stud book was officially made in 1982 by the decree officially number 22,388 of November 27, establishing the Algerian stud book in the official journal of Algerian Republic. In 1987, organizing equestrian activities and recognizing the public utility of the Algerian Equestrian Federation, in Decree 17, creating the horse racing and the pari-mutuel society, and in 1995, fixing the composition and functioning of the National Commission of the Algerian Stud Book. The operating scheme of the Algerian Stud Book is composed of three circles. The first is the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, which forms the supervision of offices and institutes of equine production and other company and association. It's the ONDE. We have the National Office for the Development and Equine Breeding, who managed the stud book. The second cycle concerns the National Commission, which meets once a year and approves the registration, the second circle. The third has and last circle, which the stud book, which is the stud book formed by the horse breed, Arab Dab and Bab, held in the director of the ONDE. In this diagram, in figure 7, in this diagram, we explain the steps to follow for registration in the stud book. It starts with the horse breeder. We have the horse breeder in bottom, but not necessarily a member of the Association of Equine Breeders. The breeder, horse breeder, can be a member or not a member. The crossbreed product of horses, which must already be registered, is registered as a product under certain conditions. Imported horses, we have imported horses, can be registered as a product in a special section and under specific condition. Breeding stallion and broodmare are registered in the reproductive section. We have registered reproductive as a reproductive, we have stallion and broodmare. The publication in the form of the volume is done every third year. So we have the genealogical book horses. We have this horse stud book, which will be published in a volume every 3 years. And the stud book is held by the Director General of the Equine Breeding Institute. We have now we have the trophy of the Algerian is a member of, we have the Algerian is a member of World Arabian Horse Organization, the WHO, by collecting several trophies, 25, 2010, 2014, and 2016. The WAHO 2010 trophy was awarded to the breeder Amraoui in 2010, and in 2014 we have we have the national stud of Thiers. We have a town in Algeria, and honored by Zerwari Abbot, presented by Mr. Ahmed Bouakaz, chief of the stud book. India is the chief of the stud book and vice president of the WAHO, members of the executive committees. In the stud book, we have to mention the horse standard. With the horse, we have two parts. The part one, we have the ethnic coordinates, the format, medium metric, proportion, profile, code, size, length, body index, and bar circle. The morphological character, we have the head, ears, eye, neck, withers, and shoulder, chest, and back, and all the characteristics we have to check the standard for the animals. For the herd book, we have an example. Every 3 years, we have the volume of 14. We have 2011 to 2013. The volume 14 stud book for AARINENA. We have the table for contents. Introduction, we have to the statistic, reglementation, and repertories, stud book, and all. We insist in this. We have the stud book registration. We have to make some characteristics. We have to have we have been we have in stud book registration, we have the registration as a product. We see that later. It's registered in the Algerian stud book. Any product born in Algeria from parent already registered in the ALSB, that is the Algerian stud book, and fulfilling the following condition. We have to fulfill the condition, have been declared within 15 days of the birth for the director of the breeding depot of the district of the place of the birth, have his description noted under the number before weaning by the authorized agent of the Institute of Development Equine Breeding, have received a name, where the animal must have the name and meet the specific condition to each book, and also registered under the same condition any product born in Algeria from a mother registered in the Algeria stud book, and provide with organized foreign mating certificate, which mention meeting artificial insemination or a foreign embryo transfer by the stallion registered in the foreign stud book of pure Arab blood, officially recognized by the WHO. Filiation control for the identification and identification for the ancestry of each horse on deck has set up a national commission whose main mission is the operation of simple we have to propose the identification or genotype and parentage control by the DNA. I finished my communication, and I hope thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks, Dr. Khalid. Thank you very much for
Welcome.
those
Welcome.
very nice, important informations. Actually, we have an overview of the herd book that found in Algeria, and Dr. Khalid concentrates mainly in the equine and mainly for the Arab barb horse breeds. Breed actually, and now the floor is open for any question that may arise from our colleagues who participate. Dr. Rida, if you have anything to add, please, you can add anything you want. Okay. Questions?
شكرا دكتور، الله يعطيك ألف عافية. يعني الصحيح أنه أنا سعيد جدا بهذا المستوى من التنظيم ومن المعلومات اللي مرتبة بهذا الشكل، ويعني بتمنى حقيقة أنه هذه التجربة تعمم وفعليا بيكون عندنا يعني بهذا المستوى من الدقة والمعلومات بكافة المواقع. فيعني الصحيح أن أنا سعيد جدا جدا بما سمعت ورأيت يا دكتور حقيقة في دكتور خالد في هذه المحاضرة. بكل الشكر، الله يرضى عليك.
الله يسلمك.
Questions? Any questions? Any question? Okay. Can I ask now, Dr. Khalid?
Yes, welcome.
Thank you again. And actually, as I expect that the first establishment of this herd book was at 1948, is it right? Yes. And before this date, you start in collecting the informations through the 18th century, is right? Through the French occupation.
Yes.
So it's very nice to see something like this. And also, I think if we have any colleague from Tunisia, they have also a herd book also that has been established also through the French occupation. I know that everything is very difficult. Not anyone have the ability to register his horse in this herd or stud book.
Yes.
But I want to ask a question here. You said that the crossbreds and also the imported horses, they can be also registered in this.
Yes.
طبعا under certain circumstances or very strong or difficult.
Yes.
What kind of information that needed to be from the crossbreds actually here, if you have it? If you don't have it, it's
what kind of
information needed for the crossbred to be added to the stud?
Yes, we have if the breed have it's a stud book or registered. Yes, the first condition must be registered. We have if if the animal is registered, we can't add it for the product registration.
Yeah,
the first we have with the pedigree. It's possible. We must have the pedigree, the mother and the father and all. We have sometimes we ask the DNA. Sometimes if now we have the DNA pedigree, DNA parental to verify to check the animals. And we have the passport. All animals have them passports. When we inscribed all the description of other animals and the mother, the stallion, and all the pedigree. Yes, all this is welcome.
Okay, thank you. But another question, if you allow me, just only, I would like to return to the WAHO, W-A-H-O. You know, I think Dr. Sami knows some information. I think I heard something from you previously in the TV, Dr. Sami, and also Dr. Dr. Abdul Amir in Iraq. Also, they have some information regarding the WAHO, the WAHO. You know, so you register the Arab barb. The upper Arab barb is a crossbred from the original Arabian horses. Is that right?
Yes.
So the Waho registered those breeds, those new breeds, actually crossbreds, if I can call them crossbreds, below the Waho, which is abbreviated for the World Arabian Horse Organization. Is right? So they are specifically organized or established for Arabian horses. So how can they, do they have anything related to the crossbreds below this big title or big, which is Waho? Just only that those breeds came from the Arabian horses, crossbreds, or whatever you call them. I don't know.
Yes.
So maybe Dr. Sami and Dr. Abdul Amir, they can share their knowledge actually in this regard, because previously I heard something from Iraq. I think I have some presentation regarding the Iraqi Waho horses, because they register a lot of things, and I think, as I remember, that they do need to have a pedigree information returning back to 7 generations or 2 generations, 3 generations back, just only to know their parents and the other information or the ancestors. So how can it come? If you give me some information, if you have information related to the Waho registration of process regarding the crossbreeds or the and I see that you got some rewards from Waho, is that right? Yeah. So if the floor is open, just not only for you, just our other colleagues, they can also share their knowledge.
In Algeria, if you permit, in Algeria we have the Arabian barb, not barb only. Barb only, the pure Arab barb is few. It's not very big number. We have a few number of barb. All the horses in Algeria is Arab barb. Why we have the Arab barb? Because the Arab have some characteristic, and we use for hardness we cross with barb. We have specific barb for the region. We hardness, we taller, and it's very strong. For with regard to the characteristic of the Arab, all the Arab, there is the characteristic for Arab. There is the Arabic characteristic, and then and also the barb, the for resistance.
So you merge them with each other. Let us say the Arab horse, the Arabian horses has the beauty characteristics with the hardness, characteristics that came from the barb. But another question. Further, Dr. Abdul, yes.
Thank you very much. I was very interested in this lecture, and thank you very much. But I know if you call it Arabic, if you call it Arab, you have to estimate the characters like the height. I mean, you have to be in the limit of the World Arabian Horse Organization. If you don't find this character, you will call it local. When you call it Arab, you have to be like the characters of World Arabian Horse Organization.
Yeah.
Yes.
I believe that.
Yes, Dr. Abdul Amir.
I don't know what's your opinion. Okay.
Dr. Khalil, sorry for if you allow me to interfere. In Jordan, the horse raising, as you know, and Dr. Rida, it is under private sector breeding, you know, and we have connection with نادي الفروسية أو اتحاد الفروسية الأردني, union for horse raising in Jordan, especially Arabian horse. They have database, they have records. The interesting people, they are following up the genetic material such as mating their horses by using high producing or very beauty, as Dr. Khalil said, horses from different genetic resources.
Yes.
We have in Jordan a very nice collection from Gulf countries, from Iraq, and local breeds, as Dr. Abdul Amir said. Still in Jordan, we need more focus on this subject.
Yes.
And I have two questions to Dr. Khalid, if you allow me.
Yes.
What about the characterization of local cattle breed in Barbar community? I know that there is a pure breed local which is very resistant to harsh conditions. They are producing, if we can say, they are low producing animals, but they have very good resistance to diseases, to mastitis,
Yes.
as you know.
Yes.
And another question, what about the goats also, the goat farming in Barbar community? I know that in the desert of Algiers, the more dominant animal which is fit the community food security is goat. Did you focus on that?
Yes. Thank you, Sir Abdullah. For the Arab, we have a lot of article. We have a lot of publication with characteristic of the barb, with the hardness and the resistance, and some study for the genetic performance. We have hardness and resistance. We have the objective of my communication is to explain how to make the hard book, not to explain how is the hard book, the barb book, the Arab barb breed. I have to explain how the strategy to have the hard book, the start book of the horses. All the barb exists and the Arab barb exists. And the Arab barb always we have the Arab barb. The barb, it's not it's a limited number. We have a limited number of the barb for studies, only for studies. And for the goats, we have the local breed. When you see it's the Arabian or Arabia. We have Arabia. We see the Arabia goat. We can find the goat in the steppe and in the oasis. A lot of its resistance for some not very productive, but it's resistant and can work very long and all.
Thank you.
It's very important. You're welcome, Mr. Abdullah.
Actually, yeah, the process is very sophisticated actually to start up or to establish the herd book, and the important need here is the identification and the traceability. It is very important to start tracing the animals to return back to their ancestors, the pedigree information, the performance, and the other things. And it's very nice to see one of very important actually Arab countries to have such herd books actually for bovine, ovine, and also the horses. And if we have maybe in the future we will take some. If we have the opportunity to have some from Tunisia, also they have a very strong actually herd book related to the horses, and also they have a lot of maybe 4 or more than 10 local horse breeds, because I visit their the animal genetic resources or the traceability herd book, and also they conducted for the ovine, bovine, and other thing. They have the facility to test all the commercial flocks actually and hares found there in Tunisia. So if we can summarize this thing, the traceability, the identification process is very important. We can say that the performance information should be collected from the local and also the governmental stations, in addition to the pedigree information, which is very, very difficult to be obtained in some Arabian countries. But if you go to, for example, Tunisia, Algeria, Turkey, for example, we will take the Turkish example because they have, I know they have a very strong actually herd work, and they collect data from the commercial flock, not governmental station, because they do need to have all the traits in their natural habitats that they produce under their circumstances, their environment that they live in it. So I think it is very, very interesting lecture, and thank you, Dr. Khalid, for this.
You're welcome.
Dr. Khalid, if you allow me one last question, please.
Okay.
Dr. Khalid, you mentioned.
Khalid, can I say something, please?
Yeah.
First of all, I would like to thank all of you, and thank you, Dr. Khalid, because I have another meeting to go for it now. But Dr. Khalid, please, this presentation and this lecture is recorded. So I hope you give us your permission. So if somebody needs it, we can send it to any person to maximize the use of this presentation. So thank you so much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Dr. شكرا.
الله معك.
Thank you, Dr.
الله معك.
Dr. Khalid, you mentioned very interesting number regarding the camel farming. You mentioned 344,000 camel.
Yes.
It is Arabian camel.
Yes.
And you are producing a lot of milk, I think.
Not enough. Not a lot of us. We have the camel about 400,000
yes.
In Algeria, but not for meat, not for milk. Sometimes we use the milk of
racing
camels. Yes,
for meat production.
Only for meat, not for meat.
It is grazing system, nomadic system, or it is farming system?
Yes. Grazing and nomadic.
Okay, thank you.
Specific the steps.
Dr. Sami, you can see the huge number of small ruminants of sheep mainly.
Yes.
You have 35 million hectares.
Yes.
You know that? Very huge.
Yes.
So the number of goats is about 5 or 4 million, which is very high also.
Yeah.
So they have a very nice livestock number. And actually, Algeria is a very important country, Arabian country that is very, very, very productive country, and we do love the Algerian people because they are hard workers, and it's very nice to know those very important information. Pauline, are you with us? I don't know.
Yes, actually, I was just unmuting myself to interfere a little bit. First off, thank you, Dr. Khalid, for such an amazing and I guess covering informative presentation. For me, I mean, I'm not very well aware of Algeria and what goes on there, so this was really a very nice, informative presentation.
Yes,
that's one. Two, I am amazed that the progress you've made with a lot of farmers in making them actually record and making them become involved in the process of preserving the species. And I think that is one of our major challenges in Lebanon. Even records are hard to come by sometimes. So I would like to maybe hear a little bit from you on how, well, maybe the incentives you gave to the farmers or how you were able to reach to them. Because most recently I was talking to a farmer, a shepherd, Khalil, and you might be very interested in this story. He labeled all his goats in order to start recording. And lo and behold, he's grazing them at a border area between Lebanon and Syria, and the Aman Am actually confiscated all his flock because they said it's labeled, therefore it's imported, and you know, you cannot keep it here. So just to hear you your thoughts on these issues. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Khalid.
It's important for identification of the animals. For the big ruminants, it's possible, but for the little or the sheep and the goat, it's not possible. It's
Okay.
we have a lot.
You have the same challenges, you say.
Yes, the same
Okay.
challenges. We have not the cattle is identified and not the sheep and the goat.
Okay.
You know, Pauline, when I visit Tunisia and see their herd book, actually they offer a lot of things for the farmers, just only to let them sampling their animals. Actually, they take samples in a regular time, actually, from milk, for example, and they test the fat, protein, and the other things, and also they test the mastitis, the sensitivity for mastitis. You know that, and this is. If you can imagine this thing, it is very helpful for those farmers.
That's exactly what our farmers are telling me. If you can help us with anything, that would be great. And I mean, I have a small research project.
Yes, we need that, Dr.
But
Khalid.
so I'm trying to get them vitamins. I'm trying to get them disinfectants for the farm. But you know, the idea of labeling and the idea of record keeping, even some farmers told us, oh no, my هلا معزياتي معشرين ما يقربوا لي عليهم. يعني هالقد sensitive issue of actually getting samples on those animals. So it's
farmers anywhere. The farmers anywhere they are similar.
You know, Pauline, I do believe, actually, you know, you do need to give the farmers some incentives.
Oh, we are.
Actually, at least at the beginning of the herd book or the record keeping, at least a little bit. Maybe Dr. Sami, remember when I was working in CART, which that I am proud of this actually the center. We were actually holding a big project, usually supported by the government, to collect the information, actually, and Dr. Sami was the leader of this project at that time. We collect some information, we take the record keeping, but we do need to give them, for example, for instance, actually we give them impregnated sponges, we give them a little bit, for example, half ton of Russian, you know, concentrates. You gave them some for free for the ear tags and the other things, just only to encourage them to start. But if they sense the profitability or the progress that can gain from the record keeping, they will do it again and again.
Exactly.
But Arabian world, you know that if we have a fund for a certain data collection from those farmers, it will be stopped when the fund will be over.
Yeah, I know. And
this is the problem.
It is the mentality. It is the mentality of the farmers.
Yeah,
if the farmer will feel some support, for example, feed additives, vitamins, antibiotics, he will facilitate to ease the data collection. I agree with you totally. Yes.
So should we, and this is something, I think, a segue that's coming out of this meeting and this discussion, I think, should we think about a potential project for labeling and record keeping in small ruminants specifically? Because I mean, maybe have a psychologist with us to study the attitudes of the farmer. I mean, really not have it just pure animal science, but you know, study the incentives that could make those farmers from short-term record keepers, maybe long-term record keepers. And
exactly.
I mean, to me, this is where things have to start. And this is why I think in Algeria, you've been able to make such a progress, Dr. Khalid, by having the farmer invest and actually be partners in record keeping and all that. So
it's very important. Yes.
I don't know, I'm just putting it out there. maybe someone will have an idea.
Pauline, you suggest an initiative actually to be raised right here from this.
Of course.
From this meeting to start typing something for a small project, just only to be supported. Maybe we can compare the Arabian or the third countries, the developing countries with the developed countries, because they have their own herd books and they select according to them, and all the progress that gained in the breeds, the new breeds that found worldwide, it came from the herd books actually.
Yeah.
So we can start. I fully support your idea.
Listen, Prima is coming up. We could just have a simple Prima project across the Arab world with support from countries that have really been successful in record keeping. Keep it simple. Don't go overboard. Just say, okay, let's do record keeping lessons learned from Europe applied to the Arab world. Just as simple as that.
Yes, this is okay. We can start. We
Let's
can
do
start,
it.
Pauline. Okay,
let's
do
do
it.
it.
Yeah, good idea. So, so you can lead it actually, Pauline. I will invite you to share us.
Actually, tomorrow in Lebanon we have a Prima information workshop. So as soon as it's done tomorrow, I'll write a proposal or like a short brief for what I have in mind. I'll send it to the group through the email that Dr. Khalid you shared. Yes. And then we will see where to go from there. How about
we have at NARC many projects funded by Prima. It is Linsas project.
Nexus. Yeah.
Okay.
Great, very nice idea. So we can share it, and you can write the pre-proposal, the ideas that you have, and really it's very nice. I don't know if you have any questions, any comments, any I don't know. Dr.
Nice to
Amir.
meet you all, and great discussion. Yes. I'm really happy I was involved in this group. Thank you, Dr. Khalil Jawaz, for this. And I really look forward, you guys. I mean, this is an amazing discussion we had. So looking forward to more contribution, I guess.
Actually, just to let you know, Pauline, that we do need to have every 2 months, or we have a meeting, and between them we can design, or we can present something through in between actually. So your turn will be you will be scheduled actually. You will have a presentation.
I have too many deadlines. Tell me when.
So later, not now. So we have scheduled everything. We have, but we do need you to share us with your knowledge, your thinking, your thoughts. It's very important. And actually, we have much more members than that we have here in this meeting. Maybe they will participate in the future meetings. Again, finally, Dr. Khalid, many thanks for your nice presentation. And our colleagues, thank you for all very nice interventions, actually that raised by all others. And actually, it's very nice to share the knowledge gained from the whole countries in the NENA countries. So many thanks, and hoping to see you in the coming meeting. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Dr. Khalid.
دكتور خليل، أنا الحقيقة أنا النت بدأ يقطع عندي قبل فترة، يعني الدسكشن اللي بين حضراتكم ما كان واضح عندي، بس يمكن كانت الفكرة عن كيفية استحصال البيانات من المربي.
نعم.
وأعتقد هكذا كان المربي هو ليد هو يحتاج الى لانه راعي للسلطه، يعني سياده وطنيه. والمربي، انا اسف اخذ حريتي باللغه العربيه، المربي هو بحاجه الى والعلاج ضد الامراض الطارئه، وهكذا بدعم الاعلاف، وهكذا بالنسبه لتنقل الحيوانات والاستيراد والتصدير، كله خاضع لسيطره الحكومه. ولذلك المربي يجب ان يخضع لطلب عندنا بالعراق
دكتور الصوت بيقطع، ما بنسمع سمعنا اي شيء تقريبا.
وهي ان يحدث من التلقيح ضد الامراض الوبائيه لحيواناتها حتى ينقذها من الهلاك. فهو
الصوت دكتور، الصوت ما في صوت.
مضطر ان يكون متعاون مع الفني الطبيب البيطري. هسه اكو صوت دكتور؟ واضح صوتي؟
واضح واضح.
هسه
الو
تفضل.
واضح دكتور.
هاي مشكلتي انه النت يقطع. اي فيتعاون مع الطبيب البيطري والمهندس الزراعي اللي يعمل معاه في الحقل، ولذلك استحصال البيانات كان بالعراق. انا ما اعرف بقيه استحصال البيانات، كان عندنا جدا سهل ووصلنا الى داتا ممتازه بالنسبه، واعتقد دكتور خليل مطلع على الداتا اللي موجوده عندنا بالعراق. هذا من جانب. من جانب اخر دكتور، بالنسبه للخيول، الخيول عالم بديع، يعني عالم ذكرته حتى كل الاديان، التاريخ ذكرى، المتاحف ذكرى، بالمتاحف فخر. الخيول حتى هذا لازم يتجاوز ال 159.9 وهكذا. اللون العين وينطل الورد لكنه لون العين ليس اسود يستبعد. فالمواصفات القياسيه
مشكل خليل الصوت.
ما في صوت دكتور، ما في صوت دكتور عبد الامير. مش سامعين اذا شايفني. We cannot hear you. ما في صوت لانه يبدو النت عندك ضعيف.
I think we lost him as well لأنه his يمكن فقدناه لأنه صورته frozen.
بالضبط. يبدو هيك. يبدو هيك
الصورة frozen.
Yes. دكتور عبد الأمير معنا؟ دكتور عبد الأمير. إسراء يبدو النت عنده ضعيف. حلو عليك الشماغ دكتور.
الله يخليك. بعد والله مداخلة الدكتور عبد الأمير مداخلته مهمة جدا.
والله
خليل what we can do is in the chat حط له word ليرجع. شفت we lost him. لا يبعثنا او maximum by email يبعثنا his comment by email او his his contribution by email.
I sent him something now.
Yeah, okay, great. All right, I'm sorry I have to run, but I have another meeting coming up. Glad to have met you all, and we will see you.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you for
have a nice day.
Nice participation. See you.
أنا والله كثير كنت حابب أسمعه الدكتور عبد الأمير.
والله دكتور عبد الأمير دائما ملاحظاته رائعة جدا، يعني الكونتريبيوشن تاعه مهم. دكتور عبد الأمير. دكتور عبد الأمير. So what's your suggestions now?
دكتور ممكن نبعث له على الواتساب يبعث لنا الملاحظة اللي بده يحكيها.
أوديها بالله، ابعثي له على الإيميل، ابعث الملاحظة
واعتذري منه كمان إذا بدنا،
إذا طلعنا،
عشان إذا أنهينا. أوكي.
إذا بدك تنهي بالضبط.
بالضبط. يحكي له مضطرين، يعني ما بعرف الصوت بعيد وانقطع، يبدو النت عندك ضعيف ولذلك
ابو ابراهيم مره خلينا نشوفك يا اخي.
ان شاء الله ان شاء الله. حياك الله
دكتور خالد، شرفت.
الله يبارك فيك
دكتور خالد، من الناس الرائعين حقيقه،
الله
الباحثين
يسلمك.
المميزين ما شاء الله عليك.
الله يسلمكم. الله يسلمك.
شرفنا على الاردن يعني، يا 100 مرحبا فيك.
يبارك فيك أستاذ.
بس دكتور خالد، فانتازي منين جاي العائله؟ من الخيول
الفانتازيا.
من فانتازيا.
جايه من الفانتازيا.
هيك الجزائر. على فكره اهل المغرب العربي بيحبوا الخيول كثير وبربوها بشكل رهيب جدا.
يا سلام. طبعا
غير المشرق العربي، اهتمام المشرق العربي كويس بالخيول العربيه، لكن عندهم خيولهم الخاصه، طبيعه طبوغرافيتهم كذا، بدهم سلالات قاسيه شويه.
الخيول البربريه دكتور، البربريه. الخيول البربريه.
نعم.
كمان الخيول هاي بدها رجال صعبه يا دكتور سامي.
يا سلام.
صح ولا لا؟
طبعا.
فرصه. هذا دكتور عبد الامير ما معنا؟
دكتور عبد الامير.
دكتور عبد الامير.
اوكي.
الان رجع. انا الحقيقه ظاهر يعني ما كان يوصل الصوت.
ما سمعنا دكتور، ما سمعنا بالبدايه، كله انقطع الفتره الماضيه كلها.
سألتكم عن انهاء المحاضره.
ايضا الصوت راح دكتور.
هذا اسف يعني ما.
اوكي دكتور، اذا سامعنا
لانه راح اعاقب ابو النت.
ضروري. اذا سامعنا دكتور عبد الامير، ما بعرف بامكانك يعني عندنا بالايميل تبعث لنا الملاحظه القيمه. والله احنا كلنا يعني مهتمين للملاحظه تاعتك، لانه دائما اسهاماتك بتكون مميزه. So you can send it by email or by WhatsApp, whatever any mean actually. You can send your comments, the contribution that you need to add. So I think we reach
finish
the dead end زي ما بيقولوها, and we do need to finish the lecture. Dr. Khalid, many thanks for your nice actually lecture, and actually looking for Dr. Sami lecture in the next lecture to be presented by Dr. Sami, and also Dr. Bashir. Dr. Bashir will be postponed, and we will we will reschedule his presentation in another time or date, and in between we can do anything. If you want any suggestion that came from your mind, you can send it by email or by WhatsApp, just only to present something in between the two main presentations. Thank you all, and see you. Many thanks. You can. Thank you. Bye bye.
Assalamu alaikum.